So last week I made a video where I sort of hinted at the idea that you could use anger to motivate yourself in a huge way, and I want to sort of talk about that in today's video. Um, the reason why anger is something that I definitely feel is very useful is because I personally used anger when I first got started in this business. So this is kind of like a confessional hour here. So when I had a day job, I was working for a startup company, and I really was not having a good time at this company. I didn't agree with the management. I didn't think we were on a path towards success. I thought we were wasting time and money and resources. Just felt frustrated, and I also felt like I wasn't being listened to, like that my ideas weren't really valued, and so it just became like a really just terrible day job, and I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I just gave my bare minimum, did not get fired, but my attitude was just souring as the months went on, and one day the CEO essentially noticed that, pulled me into his office, and basically said, we're sorry, Jesse, but we're gonna have to let you go because you obviously are not taking your career seriously, and we're just sorry that you decided to sort of, and I think his exact words were, we're sorry that you've decided to throw away your career like this, or you something like that. Like we're sorry that you decided to not take the full potential of your career, and you've decided to just sort of like kind of piss it away or something. That got under my skin in an incredible way. I was so pissed. Because the implied assumption there was that like this company that I didn't even like or wasn't even really digging somehow was going to be my end all be all for my career because I wasn't making them happy. Like I just had no career or something like that. Like it was the arrogance of his statement that I was just really like, wow, I can't believe you said that to me, that you think that like your business, your company here that's failing, that I think is failing, and eventually obviously it did fail, is somehow going to dictate my future career because I'm not making you happy or something. So I was out of the company, I was gone, but I was angry. Okay, so that there was some anger there, and that anger also was being fueled by months and months of this just like dissatisfaction building up. Some of you guys can definitely relate to me. Like this video if you've got a day job that you're feeling that. Okay, I'm telling you this too, to not give up hope, but there's you can be in that really angry place and use that to project yourself into a better place. Okay, so there's a happy ending here. Okay, so I don't want you to just get more and more frustrated at the end of this video. But that's what I did, is when I left the company and I'm sitting there going, what do I do? That was such a horrible experience. I never want to have to say good morning to a boss or a manager or a CEO or anybody that I don't respect, that I don't really admire, or I don't really look up to or anything like that, and be sort of ignored and not listened to. And like I have a lot more to give, and I think I can manage my own career. I think I can manage a business of my own. If these guys, they had a multi-million-dollar business that eventually crumbled, and I don't know what happened if they got bought. I don't even think they got bought out. I think they just went under. Like they're bumbling around with millions of dollars. Okay, I can handle a small business of my own. I can do that. Okay. So it did two things. It was really out of anger and spite that I wanted to sort of prove this guy wrong, and sort of prove to myself also that this company was not the end of my career because I didn't succeed with them, that I had no career in front of me. So I was filled with rage and anger and spite. I really wanted to shove it in their faces that I succeeded. I'll be honest, like it's petty, it's small of me, it's what a second grader would do, but it worked. It totally worked, okay? Because that anger and that spite was a driving factor for me. I held on to that spite for a long time to say like those days when I felt like, okay, I want to do this music licensing thing and I think I could create a whole industry or a whole income for myself out of doing this. But there might be some of those days where I'm just not that motivated. I'm not feeling that excited about it. I don't know. That little thing like, well, don't you want to smack this in these guys' faces? Don't you want to prove it to these guys that they were wrong? It's like, oh, yeah, I definitely do want to do that. Oh, definitely. I'm going to rub this in their faces. I never obviously did eventually. But how they say like the best revenge is living well. Trust me, that is wisdom. That is definitely true. You don't need to put it in anybody's face. You don't need to tell anybody that you succeeded. Just do it. Just live a great life. Just find the success that you want. Let people that you don't respect, live their life. They got to deal with themselves. At least you don't have to be them, right? You can be you, and you can have a different trajectory in life. It's a much better way to live. But I, this might be a little bit weird to say, but like sometimes spite is like awesome. Spite is one of those emotions that if you let it sort of sour you, I guess, like, and you just whatever kind of shut down and don't want to produce stuff and don't want to work, then yeah, I guess it could be a negative thing that you don't want to do that. But you can use like any emotional state that you get into, which I guess is kind of the theme of what I'm saying here, is like you can use that to your advantage. You absolutely can use it to learn something, to get energy from it. And anger is a motivating thing. Many people will tell you, especially like people who have dealt with like maybe substance abuse or just any sort of like maybe addictive habit that they really wanted to break. It wasn't until they hit rock bottom or they got really angry about something that finally change was made. And it's typically how society makes changes too. I mean, you think about like, do you think revolutions were started when people were just fat and happy and having all their needs met? No, people start getting hungry, right? They start getting upset. They're not happy with their lives. They're angry about something. So that causes action, that causes movement, that causes you to actually do something proactive about your current state. And then the better life comes, hopefully, afterwards. Not all revolutions have a happy ending. But the idea is that like whatever was there before, your current state right now might not be working. It might be time for a revolution, right? In your personal life. In order to get to that revolution, there's got to be anger. You got to be mad at the current situation that you're in. You got to embrace that anger, okay? It's like, it's not healthy to just pretend like, I'm really not happy with my job. I really hate everybody. But if I admit that, I'm going to be like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to suppress that and pretend like things are just fine and okay. That's a really unhealthy place to be. Like where you're just kind of like not accepting or admitting that you aren't satisfied with where you are. It's okay to not be satisfied with where you are. That's called being a human being, by the way. So if you're feeling that way, welcome to Earth. This is what everybody feels at some point, various times in their life, okay? But in order to make a change, if you really want to see differences in your life, accept it. All right, not happy with this. I'm not digging this. This work situation isn't for me. It's not working out. I want something better. I deserve something better. I want to work towards something better, okay? And you might need to use a little bit of anger, maybe some spite from somebody. If you have somebody in your life right now who doesn't think you can succeed, or you just suspect that they don't think that you can succeed, but they're not like brave enough to tell it to your face, use that spite, okay? Haters can be the best motivators. They can be so motivating for you to treat it to prove them absolutely wrong. So don't try to get haters out of your life. You'll be like, oh, I don't want any haters. No, like keep your enemies closer, right? You've heard that expression. Your haters can be your motivators. That should be the new phrase. They can absolutely push you to do more than you maybe would have done left to your own motivation. All right. So sometimes using these things can be very useful. So just some of my thoughts on the subject of it. I think anger is not always a horrible thing. I don't think it's a horrible thing. I know it's just an emotion. It's not good or bad. It is what it is, right? But if it's not sort of harnessed and pointed in a sort of productive place, yeah, it can probably create anger issues where you're sort of blowing up at people that you shouldn't be blowing up at. That's not what I'm advocating for. But definitely take it out on your music, right? Get that anger, get that emotion, all that energy that you get from this, and prove somebody wrong, right? That's really what the name of the game is. And you're going to use that to basically start developing. Here's the whole trick. You're kind of in this sort of maybe lower state of emotional consciousness, right? Because you're just, I hate this person. I'm going to prove them wrong. Okay, yeah, it's not like the highest self that you could be. But what you're doing is as you're in that, you're starting to develop productivity habits, right? Getting up every day, creating a new track, finishing every single track, because the hater doesn't think you can do that, or the person that you disrespect right now or don't respect, they don't think you can do this. So you're going to prove them wrong every day by completing your tracks. So it might start off in a lower sort of state of mind, but you're developing habits that eventually you just, excellent work becomes the norm for you. Waking up, producing great licensable music becomes just what you do every single day, because you don't know. I mean, you just started doing it and now it's just sort of a part of your everyday life. Creating good habits is kind of what this channel is really all about. That's kind of what this whole thing is. So that's the sort of trick that can happen to you at the end once you continue doing this for a long, long time, is you just start getting in the habit of making successful moves in your career. And you stack enough of those up together, you got full-time income, you've got a retirement plan, basically. You've got passive income that can keep coming in for years and years into the future. So that's enough of the rant. If you guys found this useful, please leave a like and make sure you do subscribe.